Well, hello. I am so glad you could join us. I'm Anna Scheller, host of USABizParty, host of this live stream, and it is my pleasure to have you join here with us today. Please feel free to share this with your friends on social media. We would love to have a bunch of people join us. We're going to have so much fun today. As we start, the theme of today is building community. Building community, such an important topic for COVID right now. But before I go on and on and on, let me introduce to you my guests. So first of all, I'd like to share the screen with Tom Reid. Tom is a good friend. Tom is a leadership expert. He works with contracting, right, Tom? Yes, he does. Just saying, he does.
Yes.
There we go. There we go. My next guest is Esther Ocampo. Esther is an expert in website development, as well as she manages quite a few social media accounts, including USABizParty. So Esther, welcome.
Thank you, Anna. Hi, Tom.
We have a mystery guest. And this lady is a dear friend of mine. We are birthday twins because we were both born on November 2nd. And it is Elaine Lindsey from Ontario, Canada. As you can tell, you can see the resemblance, right? Right? There we go.
I'm the shy one.
Yeah, right. Okay, sure. My next guest is Chris Stone. Chris is the president of Castahead Media. He and his partner, Jim Fuhs. Jim, where are you? Where's Jim? There he is. Jim the Marine. We were just talking about haircuts. You will never see a hair longer probably than the top of your thumb on his head. That's just saying. Jim is the head. He's a CEO of Fusion Marketing. This is exciting, guys, because I'm so thrilled that we're going to have this opportunity to talk about community, help people start to get ready for the Power of Community Telesummit that we have coming up. So maybe just quickly go around and say a little bit about what you do that I forgot to say. Tom, start.
Thank you. I wasn't sure who was starting here. Well, welcome, everybody. It is really great to see you here. I'm looking forward to today's session, as well as the upcoming teleseminar or summit. What I do is help people learn to do business with the government. I counsel the government and its contractors on how to do business with each other. Very complicated, a very, very bureaucratic process, but it's what I've spent my career doing. And more recently, having been exposed to leaders of both good and bad qualities, that kind of got under my skin for a while. So I embarked on some research, and I ended up producing a 678-page book called Sustained Leadership WBS, which is work breakdown structure. It's kind of a program management approach to building yourself into a better leader. And so now I combine the training and consulting I do on government contracting with leadership development as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tom. Esther, share a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Esther Ocampo. I'm based here in Northern Ireland in the UK, and I've been working with Anna over the last probably 4 or 5 years by now, helping with USABizParty, the Twitter chat that we do every week on a Tuesday. And also we build websites. We are a bilingual small agency, but we're here. That's why all the clocks in the background and the different time zones that we work in, some of the different time zones we work in. So yeah, super excited about the Telesummit coming up next month, and just really looking forward to getting to build this community even more.
Awesome. Thank you. Elaine, Miss Elaine, you're muted. Take your mute off, girl.
Hi there. I'm Elaine Lindsey. The company is Cruel Social Media, and I'm the creator of the Integrate and Optimize online method. We do all your foundations. So we take all your digital properties from your website, your blog, your SEO, your social media, and we put it together with your mindset to be sure that you can be found first and fastest in the search results.
Awesome. Hey, Chris, So what do you do for a living? I'm not sure anymore.
Oh, wow. I was just sitting here, I was listening to all these great people, Anna, talk about everything that they do. And if I were a person right now watching this thing, I would think, well, like, I have a business. I could just talk to all of these people and then I got it all solved, right? Pretty much. No, but my name is Chris Stone. I work for a company called Cast Ahead, or actually that is my company, Cast Ahead. I'm at castahead.net, and I work with entrepreneurs, motivational speakers, and anybody that really wants to get their story out through podcasting and live streaming, visually, audio. And I'm the guy, along with Jim Fuhs, who you're about to meet, that's pushing all these buttons for this telesummit we keep on talking about for in the coming weeks. So I'm excited as well.
So am I. And just knowing that I was teasing Chris and Jim and I have been probably talking to each other every day, sometimes every night, working on putting this all together. And but last but not least, Jim, if you'll share about what you do and how you help people.
Yeah, that's a good question. What do I do? I've really these last, gosh, I guess now it's been 8 months, because this all started in March. I've been live streaming for over 2 years, and started podcasting, but now I'm doing a lot of virtual event and remote live stream production, as well as still doing consulting in the digital and social media space. So Chris and I have started working together. Been a few months now. Doing these sort of things really is a lot of fun to help people really get their story out, and I think it's fun to do this stuff. I actually just today finished up a series of live streams with MIT and IBM Research Lab, where we were talking about the future of AI. So there's so much you can do on these platforms, and so it's great to be with all these amazing people who all it's this whole thing, right? It's the power of community and how we can help each other. As they say, a rising tide lifts all boats, and I think that's what we're here to do with USABizParty.
Thank you. Well, our first topic today is to talk about why bother building and what is the purpose of building an online community, because obviously COVID has forced us into some new normal. Well, let's just talk a little bit about this. Why would online communities be so important? And is this something that's going to change once COVID seems to change as well, when we get back to quote unquote normal?
Well, I mean, I'm talking as an islander here. We're in this very small island in the middle of the Atlantic. Well, not in the middle, but it's cold, it's dark, it's small. There's 4 or 5 million people in the whole island. We need internet. We need international communities. We need to be chatting to people outside of our island. It's a great way to cut back on travel expenses and jet fuel and everything else, and be able to meet such wonderful people around the world and be able to work together and collaborate, knowing that you're not going to have to have the expense or the extra time needed to travel and move about. That's just in terms of business. Obviously, personally as well, I mean, it's just a great way for everybody to connect with people that they've never met before. And I think that's not going anywhere, even once we're allowed to see our families again and hug each other again. It's not going anywhere anytime soon.
For sure. And someone else, because actually all of you, well, I've met a couple of you in person, but the rest of you I've met simply through online, through the Twitter chat. So anybody just chime in?
I want to chime in really quickly, just for anyone who's watching, and I know there's a lot of viewers right now that are on Facebook and on Twitter, on LinkedIn. on YouTube. If you're watching this live, I know Sue Canfield is watching because she's asking about the guitars behind me. I don't want those to be a distraction. Yes, I am in music, but we want this to be interactive because community isn't just about 6 of us on the screen. So
No.
if anybody's got any comments and anybody wants to chime in, it's not just for us to answer. We'd love to hear from the community, from the USA Biz Party. And if you're not, part of that or the chat, please, we'd love to hear questions, comments about any of this stuff. But Anna, I guess to your question, I had worked with Sony for 27 years, and for the last 7 years, I had worked remotely with the home base in New York, and I was flying back and forth every 3 or 4 weeks, back and forth. So working from home remotely and being on Zoom calls was something I had been doing for years and years. So I had learned to, do the things that everybody had been doing for the past 9 months, scrambling to present themselves properly on the screen in front of people in a conference room or all of those kinds of things. So that was, I kind of had a head start in that respect. But I find that still to this day, a lot of people are having struggles in this kind of atmosphere like we're in right now, and presenting themselves in a, if you're a business and you're scared about getting in front of a camera or doing a podcast or doing something like that, you've got to jump into it and lean into it more, because I guess to Esther's point, it's like, even when the vaccine happens and we can get maybe to the other side of this thing, this virtual stuff is here to stay, and there's at least going to be some hybrid going on when we're hugging, like Esther said, but it's also there's going to be virtual hugging happening as well. So
Right. And I think too, because of the isolation that is now is more pervasive than ever, it's really important that we create and we enter into communities and start to build those relationships. We don't know what's going to happen next year, but what if we had the opportunity to meet somewhere? I can tell you, Esther and I, and actually Elaine and I, we've met over in Ireland. Elaine and I had to go to Ireland to go meet each other. Right?
Yeah.
But when we met, because of the closeness, because of the relationship we built online through social media, primarily Twitter, it was like being with old friends. And that's just a feeling that you can't, like, I'm looking forward to the day I can meet Chris and Jim and Tom in person. And so, but who else would like to chime in on that?
I'd like to chime in and along with Chris, I was a beta tester for Zoom and Hangouts way back in the day. I've been doing this for a decade, and we always built our community, our G+ community, to this day. We still get together, we still do our thing, and we make the effort when we can, or when we could, to also do that in person. 70 of us from around the world met in New York City in 2012. And since then, I've met people in Dallas, I've met people in Toronto, Windsor, Boston. It all stemmed from this community we built. And exactly what Anna just said, when you get close to people, even virtually, video is a wonderful medium because you get the full spectrum. The only thing you don't get is smell. Everything else about people, from the, we talked about that one day in Hangouts, about trying to get, smell into Hangouts. And we decided, not such a good idea.
Tom, I saw you do the sniff. The smell thing's coming virtually. Get ready.
It is. You got to be careful what you're cooking in the background, right? But that whole concept of community and sharing I think is really important, and especially in this time when there are people who are seriously isolated, living by themselves. At least being able to meet somebody in a video chat gives you some feeling of connection, and it's a wonderful way to build your community for sure.
For sure. Yeah, thank you for that. Moving on to the next point, and really this is one I know that Tom can speak quite freely about. What is the critical role that leadership has in community, particularly a virtual community like the one we're creating on USABizParty?
Excellent question, and I appreciate you asking it. In my own experience with such things goes back to the old corporate video conference facilities. You had to go to the video conference room where you got connected, and you had the same technical issues. And as time went along, joining social media, and by the way, an introvert as I am, doing those kinds of things is downright painful, if not exhausting. But I got into some of the social media platforms, and one in particular that I enjoyed was Blab. Probably all remember Blab. And being a bit of a dinosaur, I was very proud of myself that I became very adept at running Blab. And then it shut down. And I'm like, well, that was a waste of time. and so I've resisted many things, and it teases me all the time. I have nothing to do with Facebook. I don't have an account. I won't go on it. It's just, it has no value to me that I can see. In any case, the point of leadership and why I share those stories with you is there always has to be someone who takes charge. There has to be somebody who steps forward and makes things happen. Now, I've had discussions with people about virtual conferences and virtual summits. And when I do, they go, oh, yeah, that's a great idea. And I say, well, what would you be willing to do? Well, you let me know when you get that set up and I might attend. And it's like, well, that's not quite how it was supposed to work. And so you do need someone that has the wherewithal and the ability to gather people around them, which is the basic definition of a leader. A leader has followers. If you turn around and there's nobody behind you, you are not leading anything. You're probably out for a walk. And so the nature of these things requires that somebody takes charge, somebody does something with it. One of the elements I talk about in the book is that a sustained leader has a bias for action, meaning that you don't sit on things. If an issue comes up, you address it. And so many of us, and I know we're all guilty of this from time to time, and particularly in certain areas, we all have our weak areas, where we get an email and it's like, oh man, I don't want to deal with that today. But you know what? It's going to be on your mind until you close it. And so you're much better served by just taking charge of it, making it happen, moving things along. And you never know who is waiting on you for their next step, because many people can't even lead themselves very well, but they will follow your lead. And so I strongly encourage everyone to adopt a bias for action and to take care of particularly the little things before they stack up and potentially become big things.
Well, and let me speak to our audience really quick. So leadership is important. What is your perspective on leadership? Share a question or a comment. Let us know how you see leadership fitting, especially in a virtual community. I will tell you that doing something like this, it requires a team, and it requires people who can work together, communicate. Communication is probably one of the top leadership challenges, I would say. But and we want you in the audience to communicate with us. Tell us your thoughts about leadership as we explore this topic a little longer. Now, Jim, you've been quite silent, the Marine in the corner there. Share with us your perspective on leadership in a virtual community.
Well, I think one of the important things, like I'm a member of a Toastmasters club, and so when all this happened, you had two choices. You could stop meeting, or you could actually, move forward. And so the leadership of our club, it's like, hey, we're going to use Zoom. We're going to make the best of it we can. And what that's allowed everyone to do is to continue to develop, because now you're in this virtual world. People that never would get in front of a camera before had to get in front of a camera. It's now becoming the norm for people to be able to speak virtually. I mean, Chris and I earlier today were on a Zoom meetup that's been going on for several weeks. And what's great about it is, the leader of the community has to kind of like keep everyone on focus, or otherwise it just becomes a bunch of people talking about all kinds of crazy stuff. But you start to see like, who are the people that constantly show up? Who are those people that reach out? Are people getting to know each other, outside of the big meetings, and getting to know, like, what, I could do business with these people. I mean, true story. Chris and I met once in person before the pandemic happened. And then we just happened to get a chance to be on a couple Zoom calls. And now we've been working together probably for at least 5 or 6 months. And it all started, so yeah, we did have that first face-to-face, but we built most of our, know, like, and trust virtually. And by talking on the phone, and, we do a lot of FaceTime audio. That's sometimes a challenge with technologies. Phones don't work right. But it's there if people are willing to do it. And I think, for a lot of us, especially in this community, unless you're truly a local business, this has actually opened up opportunities that most people would have never thought of. I feel blessed that, I went through a hurricane 2 years ago, and my business was just about destroyed because I was so hyper local focused. And I said, never again. So, I didn't know that by making that decision, that made me much better prepared when this pandemic started. So I think the important thing with leadership is you gotta be willing to take risk. And, like a lot of people say, you may fail forward, and it's okay. You might not be good on camera today, but just try to get 1% better every time you go out.
That's so true.
So say not
Anna,
only
we've
that,
got
you can use that old video for your blooper reel, which is really good down the road.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
It is. And one of my favorite topics, again, if you have a comment about leadership. So we did see, what have we got here? Sue, actually, ladies and gentlemen, Sue is one of our speakers. She's going to be joining us on one of these live streams on the 8th of December. So you got to stay hooked with us, because we're going to be doing several of these just to have you meet some of our wonderful speakers. I'm real excited. I actually handpicked all the speakers. So of course I'm real excited. But anyway, Sue is going to be speaking to us about community and social media. So she says, I'd say communication is the most important quality a leader needs, especially in a virtual environment. I've managed a virtual team for over a decade, and anytime I bring on a new team member, I stress that. I've had to fire team members who just won't communicate. Thank you for that. And then Sue Ann, and I'm not going to say your last name because I'm afraid of butchering it, Sue Ann, but she liked Tom's comment about having a bias for action. And Sue Ann says, I'm at the blooper reel stage of my life so far. Oh, well, we'll join you and we will root you on, girl.
Absolutely.
Yes, there's all of us have been there. Even these wonderful guys like Chris and Jim and Elaine, who have been doing this for so long. I know they've had their moments as well. Now we have promotional tickets to give away, and I believe we're still working on getting those. But here's what I'd like to offer. I haven't really thought this one through too much, but I'm going to ask I'd like you to vote for one of the speakers, not myself included, but one of these speakers. And if the speaker that you vote for, you will get, you're welcome, Sue Ann, you'll get a free ticket from them. How about that? You guys do get free tickets, just letting you know. So I'm not giving that away. Right?
One thing I want to say before you change gear there is, because that lady talked about her blooper reel, I want to say what's really important and why you really have to come to this conference is we're going to give you the tips that will help you optimize everything all these lovely people will offer you in the conference. I'm going to teach you how to optimize it and integrate it so you end up on page 1 with all your goodies, including your blooper reel.
Ooh, awesome. This is so great.
So Anna, can we, for a lot of people that are watching this either on replay or live, can we just do like a quick, can you do like a nutshell of what the Telesummit is about so people know what's happening, the dates, and what they get with, with the tickets, and once they hear that they can vote for me, I can get a free ticket. Hey, me.
Come on, Tom, Santa Claus, come on. Start working the crowd here. Start working the crowd.
Oh, we got the crowd years ago.
So the whole focus of the Telesummit is the power of community, power being strength, power being how we can move ourselves forward. And so we're going to be talking on all aspects of how you can use community not only for yourself, but also possibly even to build your own community. So what comes with the ticket? I know that's kind of a super general broad, but we've have Tom. Tom's going to be talking about leadership, which is, as you can already see, an extremely important part of developing and building community. We have Elaine, who is the queen of getting you on the front page. Now, if nobody finds you, how can you start to build a community, or how can you find a community? That's where you want to be. And Esther is an expert. She's number one when it comes to your website. She and her team, they are responsive, they work with you. And if you just have a Facebook page, I want to urge you to get a website, because a website belongs to you. Facebook can change what they're doing. Twitter can change, LinkedIn, whatever platform you're joining us on. But your webpage is where you get to be who you are. And that's a great place to start building your community. I love how Chris is going to be talking about podcasting. How many podcasters do we have in the room right now? So, Tom, we need to work on that. Just saying.
Dinosaur.
Tom, Chris.
I played dinosaur.
Well, I was pointing. Yeah, I don't know which way do I point. So, but Chris is going to be talking to us about podcasting, and I have to tell you that I believe podcasting is super important for starting to build your community. People are listening to podcasts now more than ever. They go for a walk because they have to get out of the house. They're listening to a podcast. They are working inside the house and they're bored. They're listening to a podcast. Podcasting is a super important way to get your story out and also to build your community. And then, of course, last but not least is Jim. And I am a strong believer in live streaming. We've added that to the USA Biz Party. But more important, Elaine brought up earlier that on video, people are not just hearing your voice or seeing something you've written. They are actually seeing who you are. You can tell I'm a very expressive person, the hands and everything else. I blame my Italian heritage. But that also gets expressed on live stream. And that's what people connect with. That's what people connect with. And that's how you build that like and trust factor, which leads to greater community. And a strong community also leads to better business. And that's what we're all about. So kind of a long-winded way to say, I just wanted to talk about the speakers, what they're going to be talking about. When you get a ticket, though, you are going to be, first of all, in admittance to the conference. So the conference isn't just going to be these wonderful people talking. It's going to be interactive sessions, networking. You're going to get to go through the exhibitor booth, and we're going to have some prizes for you going through the exhibitor booth. And not only that, but you're going to have a chance to talk to people. There's going to be time not just to sit behind your computer and do something else, but you're actually going to be able to work with the folks that are in our summit. Did you want to say something, Elaine?
No.
Oh, she's just agreeing.
I talk enough.
In addition to that, we'll be sending you a download so you have an outline of what's to come. And also you will get, depending on the level of the ticket that you purchase, you will get either a free 30-day trial for our membership or 3 months, or you might get a year. So if you want to learn more about that, you need to go to the Hop-In webpage, and that is, could somebody pop that into our comments or along the bottom there?
I'll do that. Yep, I'll put it in the chat, and I'll also put it on the as a banner. So
cool.
but vote for me because I did that. Vote for me.
All right. Our last topic, and do we have the bandwidth to do one more topic, gentlemen?
Oh yeah.
These are my techie friends. You know they're friends when they call you, they let you call them at night. That's when you know you're friends. So our last thing is today's focus is building community. And so I want to talk about what are tools. And I know each of these individuals has a different tool they're going to be sharing during the telesummit. So give us a little tease about tools that people can use to build community.
Oh, I'll start. I mean, for me, I think StreamYard is a very powerful browser-based, cloud-based tool to allow you to go live into multiple groups, especially like in Facebook, so you can actually have that visual conversation with your community and they can interact just like we're doing right now. I mean, we've been able to share Sue's comments to the screen. You know, Chris is able here to put up the information on the telesummit. So for me, one of the tools I'm going to talk about is StreamYard, and love their 3 principles. They're founded on easy use, stream stability, and this looks like a professional stream as well. That's their other one.
Oh, I love StreamYard. It's what I use now for all of mine. So yeah, I do love it. Chris?
Yeah. So, just to, kind of dovetail off the leadership conversation and what Tom was saying, it impacted me so much. And I think a lot of what people have to realize in terms of leadership is they've got to not be afraid to be vulnerable. And that sometimes when, leaders think that they always have to have, everything has to be perfect. And, you have to have the perfect profile on LinkedIn, and you have to have the perfect podcast, and you have to have the perfect sound, and you have to and even though I'm kind of a sound nerd, and that's, I am really focused on helping people start. And that means sometimes, if you've got a super low budget, as in no budget, that should not prevent you from starting a podcast. That should not prevent you from telling your story as a business owner or as a motivational speaker, or if you have a mission, or if you have anything that you want the world to know about. You shouldn't be worried about buying a $400 mic and buying a $600 camera and spending subscriptions on it, everything. And so what I really like to do is to talk to people about when they're developing a show or a podcast, whether that's a video or it's on audio, is like, I like to work with someone and talk about the techniques and the mindset for doing that, and just get them on their way and push them through some of that mind junk that they have that keeps them from doing that, and plugging them into a community of people, the podcast community, to get things motivated and get them on their way.
And, these are things that we're going to be talking about. These gentlemen are going to be talking about at the Telesummit. And so I honestly urge you, if this is something that you've been even remotely considering, please, please, please vote to get your ticket. There we go. See, people are starting to, there we go. This is it. But Elaine, you popped in earlier and you did. So Elaine, how can
two things to riff off what Chris said and sort of jump on board there. Perfect doesn't exist. And the reason for that is 2 things. It's boring. And secondly, if we were perfect, there'd only be 2. Okay? Humanity would be 1 of each, period, end of sentence, done. So forget perfect. The time to do your podcast, your video, your whatever is right now. Don't wait another second. Because guess what? Worst case scenario, you got a great blooper reel. My case, not so much, because I swear too much, so I can't use all my bloopers. That's another thing. Be real. I'm always getting in trouble from my husband and my son because I try to sanitize myself sometimes. And I'm told that, well, Mom, that's not you. You swear like a trucker. So you know what? We're just going to go with it. It's who I am. And yes, perfect is boring. So don't go there. I'm going to talk to you about taking everything you've got and optimizing the hell out of it so that you're on page one. You want to be the authority in your niche, no matter what media you are using. Across the board, you want it all to come up. And go ahead, check me out, Elaine Lindsey. I walk my walk, and I want to help you walk yours. And go ahead, vote for me. Why the hell not?
Okay, now top that one, Esther. Just saying.
Well, I'm the opposite to Elaine. I don't swear at all. Even on a really bad day. So, that's what I feel. But yeah, I totally agree with what Jim and Chris, Elaine, and probably what Tom's going to say as well. Done is better than perfect. You do not need the 600-pound camera to take your photographs, to have them on your website. You need the photographs on your website optimized, like Elaine's going to talk about. But you need them on your website. If they're not on your website, who's going to see them? Okay, so your website is also a brilliant place to grow your community, building a membership site. And that's for one of the things I'm going to be talking about at the summit is how to build your membership site and how to promote it and how to get people to it and how to scale it up. So you can start small. Like we were saying, done is better than perfect. Start small, get it out there, and then grow it afterwards.
Oh, thank you so much. I had to mute myself. We were getting some feedback there for a moment. And speaking of membership, that is going to be one of the benefits of attending this Telesummit is because you're going to get a sneak peek into our membership website, which I am super excited about. We've got a lot of fun things planned for that. Tom, your turn. What tools? I know you're going to be doing like some kind of assessment to help people identify their strengths and weaknesses, or did I get that right?
Yes, you did. And I appreciate you introducing it that way. When I got into studying leadership in depth, and you look around at all the college degrees and the institutes and the think tanks and the literature and the books and the gurus, and you look at all of that, and then you look at leadership in practice and you go, how did we get that wrong? We ought to do better than that. And so that was my own approach to it, to say, how do I build myself into a better leader? And if you have any experience in project management, you know that the starting point is a work breakdown structure. What is it that has to be done? And that's how this entire process evolved for me. I ended up defining 229 elements of leadership, which sounds terribly daunting, but they're gathered under the 5 major headings of character, competence, compassion, communication, and commitment. Somebody talked over here, Sue talked about the idea of communication being so critical, and it is. It's to me one of the 5 major headings of it. Within all of that, I have also what we call the essential leadership journey checkpoints, which are things that people who fail, and I mean that in the sense of fail, not just have setbacks, but destroy their leadership capabilities, tend to fall into one of these 7 categories of simply not getting it, not being able to make a decision, not developing other leaders behind them. There's 7 of those. But for this conference, as Anna and I talked about this, the starting point has to be your own self-assessment. Where are you right now? And importantly, and it's a shame I have to say this, but I do, it must be an honest assessment, meaning you probably have to go talk to some other people who know you and are willing to, let's say, be honest with you in whatever language Elaine would choose to use for emphasis. But you ask people what's really going on. So one of the exercises we're going to do at the summit is one of your statement of beliefs. And quite simply, it's what do you believe? And people are generally very happy to dive into this exercise. Oh, I believe this and I believe that. And they'll write all this stuff down. And then I tell them the secret second half, which is, okay, write a paragraph. It can just be a couple of sentences, but write a paragraph. Why do you believe that? And in classes, people have changed their minds about what they believe, because once you start putting yourself in the position of defending it, you realize you don't really believe that. You believe something a little different or something totally different. And so that's the starting point, because how do you sift through 229 elements of leadership without a starting point? Because every single person is going to come to this with a completely different set of characteristics and traits and skills and competencies, and every one of them can and should be a leader. I once told a person, I was just talking to him about the leadership program, and I said, wouldn't it be great if you had true, sustained leaders at every level in your organization? To me, that was just a wonderful prospect. She goes, oh, no, I would never want that. I was like, why not? She says, I have enough people telling me what to do. I was like, your perception of leadership is so distorted, and yet so many people share that perspective. And so my mission these days is to help fix that, and to do it in a structured, organized way, which, again, from a program management viewpoint, starts with the WBS. And that's what we'll be talking about.
Awesome. Well, I have to thank all of you for joining me today. I think we had some really great discussion, the power of having online, and the fact that it's really nothing new. It's just part of the new norm, and how we really have to make those adjustments, because it's not going away anytime soon. The critical role of leadership and how we present ourselves is a super important part of that, especially online. And then, of course, all the tools for building leadership. Now, if you've been listening to this and you think, I really want to get involved, I want to get to this summit, then just remember, all you have to do is vote for one of these guys. So, just let me know. There's Elaine and Esther and Tom, Jim, and Chris. Chris. Look at Chris. Yes. And then as soon as those promotional tickets are available, we'll reach out to you. I will say we're going to limit the promo tickets to one per speaker at this point. But I don't know, maybe people do more. We'll see. I'm a really nice person, but I won't give the form away either. Anyway, I am so grateful.
Anna, I'm sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but if you don't win, you could still attend, and it's only $10. The bottom tier is $10, 30 days of membership with that. That's, $10 for 4 hours is like, are you kidding me? I could listen to Tom Reid for 4 hours, and I'd pay twice that. I don't know.
And we've already given away one ticket.
Yeah,
Jim
won.
Sue Ann, come on.
Sue Ann, woohoo!
Thank you, Sue Ann.
So, Chris, I caution you that, as an attorney by training, you realize we get paid by the word. 4 hours is a short presentation for me.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Well, again, thank you so much. If you are on the replay, do want to encourage you to please go ahead, vote for one of these speakers and get your promotion ticket. And if you don't make it, it's only $10. Go to bit.ly/USABizParty 2020. That's bit.ly/USABizParty 2020. And you can check the landing page there, because it will lead you to where what you're going to be getting with that membership website. Let me tell you, we're starting at $100 value for just $10. Just $10 for $100 value. You don't want to miss it. We're looking forward to being with you. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, Chris and Jim and Tom and Esther and Elaine. Our next one is when, gentlemen? Our next one, we're doing another one, right?
Tuesday?
Right, Tuesday, right before Thanksgiving. So that one, I think, is going to be the benefits of community. So we're going to talk about how that helps you and helps your community. Because when you provide value, then you have also created a greater customer base. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.